Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we have the RC four-wheel drive Miller Motorsports 1/10 scale Pro Rock Racer. And it is a ready-to-run rock racer, comes with bead locks, and has the capability of going on two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. Guys, go back into my video logs and see when the last time I've had an RC four-wheel drive RC on the channel. It's been a while. So this is one that I'm truly looking forward to. This RC was purchased around the time of the Cyber Monday, Black Friday deals. I don't know, they kind of blurred them all together for 2024. But got this from HRP Hobby Recreation Parts at a really good price. Now RC four-wheel drive is saying some of the features. It has a contouring scale chassis set, a molded Lexan body panels, a faux fuel cell. There's a lot of scale parts on the RC. There's also a scale V8 crate engine housing assembly, a functional scale transmission and transfer case. This rock racer is sitting on 2.2 beadlock wheels with 2.2 grappler scale tires and has dual spring front and rear shocks. Now this rock racer is completely licensed. It's licensed off of Eric Miller's Rock Racer. If you guys are not familiar who Eric Miller is, Google him. And if you don't feel like Googling, pause the video. I'll pause here for the dimensions of the buggy. Now I gotta say guys, the graphics on the box are probably some of the best I've seen from RC four-wheel drive. Normally you get a little black box or sometimes a brown box and that's it. It's like we get a decal sheet, we get the owner's manual, 4 AA's for the controller. I'll show you guys how it's all packaged up. Yeah, they really did protect this RC nicely. This looks really good in the box. Now they stepped it up somewhat from the RC four-wheel drive controllers we're normally getting. This looks like a Dumbo RC controller, but it is way better than what I've seen from the other RC four-wheel drive RCs that I have on the channel. 6-channel controller. It looks like a USB-B port on the side. Throttle feels decent. Very springy steering. On-off switch here. Channel 4 control. Channel 3 control. Channel 5 and channel 6. Flip up the lid. You have your throttle and your steering reverses here. You have your steering dual rate, your throttle dual rate, your steering trim, your throttle trim. Steering is all on one side, throttle is all on the other. It's gonna take your 4 AA's down below. Very basic controller, but it does the job, guys. Guys, this looks amazing in person. The decals, for the most part, are pressed in really nice. Oh, this looks good. Looks like, yeah, this looks really good. Tires feel pretty good. Let's look underneath. Yeah. Oh, wow. This feels good. Feels really good. Now, I'm truly liking what I'm seeing here. RC four-wheel drive or JD model really did their thing with this. This thing looks really good. That's that lock diff that's in it. I'm seeing a lot of residue from the shocks, also from the diff cases, front and rear, but it looks like what it could be is excess grease on the diffs. The shocks, we'll have to see what that is, if it's actually the shocks leaking, or maybe it's just lube for the O-rings, because that's where I'm seeing it. And you know, just to talk about the superficial stuff really quick, the monitor for the co-pilot in this, it moves. I did not expect that. Steering is fixed. These side mirrors fold in and out. Tire compound feels really good. I'm gonna hate that. I wish they provided you with the tool to remove these wheel covers. That's one of the things that I find with RC four-wheel drive, they don't provide with their wheels. That would have been nice to see it in there. Let me check that packaging again. Nope. Now I'm trying to find more information in regards to the servo. It doesn't really say much. The only thing that I was able to find that it says is it's a twisted servo, has the torque and performance to conquer and demand task and ensure an exciting rock racing experience. That doesn't tell me the torque, but it does have a 25 tooth spline on there, so if you do see the need to replace it, you can do it without having to replace the servo horn because the servo horn is a 25 tooth. This is brushless. It's running a 1200 kV sensorless motor, and the ESC is 2 to 3S rated. 2-speed tranny with a 2-wheel and 4-wheel drive capabilities with selectable locking differentials. And ever since watching RC Driver's video on this, I'm familiar with some of its shortcomings. Most of it's coming from this back end. So in regards to these bump stops popping off, things like that, I'll probably remove them prior to that. We have these limiting straps that are on here, and these are adjustable, which is kind of slick. You have a sway bar going off in the rear, and it's a functional sway bar. I don't plan on taking this on any gnarly rock. I see the wire to actually select and change the differentials right here, and if I was, I'd be concerned about that knocking up against something, but I'm not because I don't plan on doing that. Trailing arms are all composite. Your upper links feel composite. Drive shafts are metal, and the yokes are metal too as well. You have a nice skid plate coming off in the center. And then for the front, we're looking at a 4-link suspension in the front. Those links do feel composite as well, but the drive shaft up here in the front, that's metal. And we have metal yokes also on the front. Adjustable limit straps also in the front. The steering links in the front are all metal, and that steering angle is ridiculous. There's light buckets in this front and also back here in the rear. There are no LEDs installed on it though. In the front, I'm also seeing a functional sway bar, which is attached to the front bumper, comes down to the front axle. For the ESC, I didn't mention that earlier, but it looks like a 60 amp, and it looks like a quick run ESC. I don't know if that's rebranded or not. Now, some of the decals on the side probably could have been pressed in a little bit better. I'm starting to, now that the truck's been out for a little bit, some of it's starting to peel back. As for the shocks, we're looking at a dual stage shock. They do feel super springy. I'm gonna see how it performs first before tearing into them and opening them up. Truck is super bouncy. As for the actual cage system, this is a tube style cage system, as you guys have been noticing on the channel. A lot more scale RCs I'm putting on the channel. For the battery tray, there is a body pin right here. The panel just pops right off, and then you have access to your battery tray right here. I'm looking at it, and it may be a little tight for some 3S packs. We're gonna have to see what fits in my collection. But for a typical 2S pack, typical hard case 2S pack is not going to fit. Keep that in mind. So if you have a pack like this, similar to the Power Hobby 5200 50C hard case 2S LiPo pack, you're gonna have problems trying to fit it into this truck. An XT60 connector coming off. But what's next for this rock racer? We're gonna charge up a pack, throw this thing out in some dirt, see how it performs, hit the trails. This is not a basher for me in the sense of a true basher hitting the ramps, but more so hitting the trails faster speed than what I would do with my normal trail trucks. But I'm looking forward to getting this out. Fully expect to see a lot more rock racers, rock bouncers, scale type trucks on the channel going forward. This is more so what I'm pushing towards. One thing I will comment about the truck that I'm going to have to address at some point is looking into these shocks, because as I said, I saw some leakage right by the O-rings, and I don't know if that's O-ring grease versus the shocks leaking out, and if that's the case, may have to address these shocks and getting some proper O-rings in there if the shocks themselves are leaking. But I don't see anything on the shock shafts. I only see, you know, the O-rings with a little bit of leaks on there. But the way it's so springy, the panel, everything on here is hex hardware. So the panels are also locked down with hex hardware. Just so that you guys are fully aware, there's no true easy way to get into this cage. So this is going to, when you go into more scale RCs, they're going to be a lot more harder to work on. So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind, is that this is not going to be one of those typical remove 4 body pins and get to the inside of the truck, or even remove 2 body pins or use some clips to get into it. It's a scale truck. If you guys aren't prepared to put in some work to actually wrench on it, it's probably not going to be the RC for you. And the other good thing about having this, I actually bought this first and then saw this little guy afterwards, and now I got a mini-me. Even though the colors don't quite match up too well, got a little mini-me now for the 2 trucks. But we're gonna leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. share the videos because I think we got a great community here. I have great people subscribed to the channel. I love commenting with you guys, connecting with you guys in YouTube, in Instagram, and out in real life. And it's been great throughout. So let's keep this channel growing. Let's keep this great community going by getting the word out and expanding our knowledge in the RC community. But this is Ready Set RC signing out. Thanks again, guys.